Okay. I need a raise of hands real quick. How many of y'all struggle to let go of the past? Raise your hand. Okay. All right. How many of y'all worry about the future? Raise your hand. Okay. How many of y'all sometimes have a hard time sleeping, either like right when you go to bed or like at 3 a.m. or right when you wake up, worrying about the future? Okay. Let it go. Just let it go, right? So growing up, I've always had like insomnia mixed with anxiety, which is like a super fun combo. Because it's either really hard to go to sleep or like you finally get to go to sleep and then like 3 a.m.'s like, yo, wake up. Let's think about everything. And so, to be honest, because I'm a super honest person, I had this whole sermon written this week about like liberation theology and how the resurrection of Jesus impacts our theological understanding of being more in the present and letting go of the future and letting God happen. And then I had one of my 3 a.m. like spiral sessions last night. And I thought, you know what? I think that happened because God wants me to be real. And so let's be real with one another. I want you to take a moment and answer these two questions. The first one is, if you could change anything in the world about the future, big or small, dream a little for a second. If you could create anything in the future, big or small, it could be something super personal that you change. It could be societal. It could be about all of God's beloved children on this earth. What would the future look like, and what would you change? Take a second. Okay. Second question. Do you actually have the power and control to make that future happen? Do you actually have the power and control and capability to make that future happen? So the reason I ask you all those two questions is because I have a therapist/mentor that I meet with once a week. And we start each session with those two questions. If you could change anything in the future, if you could make the world look like anything, what would you do? And do you have the power to change it? In the past couple weeks, after listening to Pastor Jen's sermon and really processing what it means to be a resurrected human being, for us to be a resurrected church, for us to have new life and new beginnings in each moment, for us to create new opportunities for growth and opportunities for people to live how they want to in our community. When I was asked that question this week, my answer was this, and bear with me, it's kind of long. And maybe I didn't actually have like one simple answer, but just a whole stream of thought. But it was this. I want the future to look like a place where no one is oppressed, where no one is told that they aren't good enough based off the color of their skin, their sexuality, their gender, what food they eat, where they were born. I might get a little graphic here. I want a world where people don't get shot and kneeled on and blown up. I want a world where kids don't go hungry at night. I want a world where people can express themselves however they want to as long as they're not hurting their fellow human being. I want a world that is truly resurrected in the eyes of Christ. I want God's kingdom here and now. Now, I can't read y'all's minds. I really wish I could, because it would make like Jen and I's job like a lot easier, because we could just get up here and say exactly what y'all need to hear every Sunday. But I can almost guarantee that whatever you're dreaming about, whatever you want the future to look like, it's some version of that. Whether it's something extremely personal or something as broad as, I want the whole world to be liberated and live in a resurrected world. Live in God's kingdom. Right? right? Okay. Second question, do we have the power and control to actually make that happen? And my gut answer to that every single time is no. There's no way me personally can make that happen. But my therapist looked at me last week and said, that's a bunch of baloney. That's not true. You can make that happen because of 3 reasons. The first one is because you have voice, you have power, you have the ability to love, and because you do believe that you're a resurrected person each moment. And by that I mean, I know each moment of each day, every morning I wake up, after every mistake, after every good decision, is a new beginning for me to slowly create change in my life. For me not to worry about the future, but to be present here and now. Reason number 2, that I actually can make that happen, is because the future is already in God's hands. So I'm going to use this as an example, and it's kind of like to our 3 graduates this morning, but like you're going to have a final exam in November and December in college, that it's like your first final exam in college, right? And it's going to freak you out, and you're going to have to study really hard for it. But you know what? You cannot impact that final exam right now in this moment. There's nothing you can do right now in this moment that can make you do better on that final exam. Now, there is stuff you can do that makes it worse. You can worry about it for the next couple months. You can stress about it. You could think about it when you can't sleep. You can worry about it when you step foot in your first class. But you cannot change that outcome right now. All you can do is be present right now. All you can do is trust that if you try your best when that moment arrives and trust in God's plan for your life, that it'll happen, that you'll do as good as you can on that exam. Number 3, of why I think I can change the world. Because I know I'm not doing it alone. Because I know I have a community that believes in the same thing as me. Because I know that I have people behind me and around me who have pushed me to where I am today and who are leading me forward. I'm going to keep it simple and short this morning. Worry away about the future, and that gets you nowhere. Hold on to the past, and that gets you nowhere. Be angry about the mistakes you've made in the past, and that gets you nowhere. Be upset that we as a society continue to make the same mistakes over and over and over again since the time of Jesus and even before Jesus, and that gets you nowhere. Be anxious about the future, and that gets us nowhere. Complain about it, and that gets us nowhere. Be upset about it, that doesn't push us towards action, that gets us nowhere. Stay awake at night and be mad that there's oppressed people constantly in our society, and that gets us nowhere. All that line of thinking does is separate us from being able to see how we can be present in this moment and be resurrected in this moment. All that line of thinking does is separates us from God's plan for our life. And so I left my therapy session on Thursday, and I just told myself this: whatever comes my way is a part of God's will. The really bad, terrible stuff is a part of God's will. The really good stuff, like my kid laughing and sticking his foot in his mouth when I'm trying to change his diaper at 2 a.m., is a part of God's plan. The question for us is not whether you have the control to change it, but whether you trust that you can change, that you can be resurrected in each moment, that you can walk down that path with God and know that next Friday is going to be a better day than yesterday was because God is with you, Christ is with you, because you're resurrected and because you have a chance to love right here and now. So let's go change the world by letting go of the future, by letting go of expectations and being present here and now, resurrect here and now, and love here and now. And stop trying to be God and just be yourself.